Octavia's loss. Octavia was walking through Ponyville Cemetery. She had her white collar and pink bow tie on, but not for a concert, but for visiting. She came across a gravestone that had the shape of two connected eighth notes, and engraved in the stone was none other than Octavia's best friend. "Hey, how you doing?" Octavia said, placing a bouquet of flowers in front of the gravestone. "I've been doing great myself," Octavia continued. "I've been playing music all over Equestria. Isn't that great? Of course, it took me away from Ponyville, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to visit you as regularly. But my tour is over, and I plan on staying here for a while, so I can visit you again." Octavia sat at the side of the grave in silence for a few moments, as tears slowly fell off her face. She wiped them off and chuckled. "I remember the first time I met you, all those years ago, when a unicorn named Final Scratch came into my life." Flashback. Octavia was in her apartment building, in the living room where she had some pieces of paper in a quill. "Another month has gone," Octavia sighed. "So another month of trying to barely make do for rent." Octavia was writing down numbers and checks, trying to figure out how she is going to pay for it all this time until she dropped her quill in horror. No, that can't be right," Octavia exclaimed, picking up her quill and a piece of paper, and wrote down the same numbers only to find the same answer. "Oh no." Octavia panicked. How is this possible? I thought I was managing my bits so well, but I came up 50 bits too short. What am I going to do? How am I going to come up with 50 bits in 1 week? Octavia counted the numbers again, only to find the same amount appear, 50 bits too short. Mother of Celestia, what am I going to do? Octavia yelled, slamming her hooves on the table. When she did, her vase fell off her side table, breaking, infuriating Octavia even more. "Oh, great! Just great!" she yelled, getting up and opening her closet to find a broom. When she opened it, though, she found her cello case fall on top of her. At first, Octavia got mad at it, but then an idea popped in her head. One she hated very much. "What choice do I have?" Octavia told her inner self. "But the cello has been in your family for years," her conscience replied. "You can't sell it." "But what else am I going to do?" Octavia said. "If I don't come up with the bits, then I'll be kicked out." "Don't do it, Octi." Who needs you?" Octavia exclaimed, pushing her guilt into the back of her mind. The next few days, Octavia would head to the park where she would normally play her music. No pony would really listen. They might stop for a second and get into it, but have to leave for their busy lives, not being able to hear her entire song. Only one pony, Octavia has noticed, has been there the entire time, but she would always wear headphones, and sat on a bench with her back to Octavia. The same pony was there when Octavia would arrive, her back still turned to her as she set down her cello case, and a sign that said 50 bits. Ponies would pass by. Some would talk to her, asking her why she would sell it since she played it for so long, and some would not even give a passing glance. Octavia started to lose hope when ponies rejected her offer, either saying it was too pricey or that who needs a cello. When the sun started to reach the horizon on Octavia's final day, Octavia just fell to the ground and began to cry. She knew she would never get any pony to buy a 50-bit cello. "So, you're selling your cello?" said a voice above her. Octavia looked up to see the white coat and blue mane unicorn that normally sat afar. "Too bad," she continued as she helped Octavia up. "I really liked your music." "Pardon?" Octavia asked, shocked. "You listen?" "Of course," the unicorn replied. "How? I always see you with headphones." "Well," the unicorn blushed and went quiet. You can tell me." "Well, I'm a DJ, and it would be embarrassing if ponies found out that I like classical music." "Oh, well, I think it's nice that you listen to it," Octavia smiled. Really?" the unicorn asked. "Yeah, ponies should be able to listen to what they like," Octavia replied. Then her face saddened. "Too bad my music days are over." "Why?" Vinyl asked. "Well, I turned up too short for my rent, and now I have to sell my beloved cello." "How much do you need to pay?" 50 bits. "Whoa, that's a lot." I know," Octavia cried, hanging her head. "I got nowhere to go either." The unicorn stared at Octavia for a second, in thought, then lifted Octavia's face, wiping a few tears and asking, "Why don't you hang out with me?" "Oh no," Octavia replied. I couldn't do that to you." "Nah, it's alright. I got a spare room you can sleep in." "But I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of you." The pony thought again and then said, "Alright, you can help pay bills. Sound fair?" "Yeah," Octavia chuckled. "Sounds good. By the way, I'm Octavia." "I'm Vinyl Scratch." Present time. "If it wasn't for you that day, I would have died a broken pony," Octavia said to the grave. "No pony would have taken me in." Octavia paused for a second, before continuing. "Now, I won't lie," Octavia chuckled. "There were some times we would drive each other crazy, but it was still worth it. You helped me so much. Got me my first concert, my first cult friend, my first real life. You meant so much to me, but I'm not sure if I ever properly thanked you. And now, I never can. I should have been there, Vinyl. I know you don't blame me, but I do." Flashback. 30 years have passed since Vinyl took in Octavia as a friend. They've done so much together, and even both been married to the stallions of their dreams, with foals and grand foals. They still find time for each other. Octavia was on her way from a concert in Canterlot, back to Ponyville. She, despite being in her mid-50s, has been able to keep a pretty young complexion. If she didn't wear her eyeglasses, she would seem 30 to any pony's guess. The train pulled into Ponyville, and Octavia departed to be greeted by her husband, son and daughter, and their foals and spouse. "Hey, everypony. How have you all been?" Octavia smiled, but then noticed each of them had a saddened mood around them. What's wrong?" Octavia's husband said.
"It's Vinyl. She's had a heart attack."
What?" Octavia replied.
"She passed away 2 hours ago. I'm so sorry."
Octavia looked at her husband, stunned, not knowing what to say or do. She slowly approached her husband, then fell into his hooves, crying loudly.
It's okay, Octi.
he said.
It's okay.
Vinyl! Octavia yelled between sobs. I never got to say goodbye. Present day. I never really got to say goodbye, Octavia said. Yeah, I said farewell at your funeral, but never got to say goodbye. Never got to say those words to you. Not even thank you for all you've done for me. Well, now I'm back, and if you are listening, let me know you'll be waiting for me when my time comes. Octavia paused for a moment, then was surprised by a strange breeze that came across her. She looked around as the wind blew and saw nothing stir. The trees lied perfectly still, and the grass was straighter than ever. Octavia smiled to herself and looked at the grave. So you are listening? Octavia chuckled, slightly tearing up. Well then, thank you. Thank you for being my best friend, and for all you've done for me. She sat for a little longer, before saying goodbye and left the graveyard. When she got to the entrance gate, she looked back and was able to see the grave and something else. Or some pony else. Vinyl? Octavia asked as she stared across the graveyard and saw the blue mane, white coat pony smile back at her before disappearing in a flash of light. Octavia smiled as tears of joy flowed down her cheek before leaving. See you later, Vinyl, Octavia said, and thank you. The end.